How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Blade Bias. Today, we're going to be talking about how to clean bushing balisongs without taking them apart. And that comes from this guy. This is brake clean, or just in general, it's a brake cleaner. And it is specifically non-chlorinated. Non-chlorinated brake cleaner is not the requirement, but it is definitely advised because chlorinated brake cleaner can leave a kind of residue sometimes. Non-chlorinated doesn't have that, so it's just overall better to use. I went to Advanced Auto Parts or whatever the other auto parts store is near me, just like the chain auto parts place, and just grabbed this guy. It's a green can. The red can is the non-chlorinated, so if that's all they have, you can do that. Definitely recommend the green one though. But the reason you don't want to take your bushings apart, or your bushing knives apart, specifically bushing knives, if it's a washer knife or a bearing knife, just take them apart, clean them, put them back together, it doesn't matter. But bushings are a little bit more complicated, and it comes from when they leave the factory, everything is set in place such a way that it is not meant to be removed and taken apart and cleaned 100,000 times. Really, with bushings, you want to just get them well tuned and just kind of leave them locked in and just maintain a decent tune and just let it do its thing. It will over time kind of work itself in, and over time bushings actually start to flip better in a lot of people's opinions, including mine. I do kind of agree with that, because they work their way in. You know, the washers kind of conform to the bushings conform to the washers, and everything starts to just flow really well. So you don't always want to be taking these apart, and the less you can take your bushing knives apart, the better. So that's where brake cleaner comes in, because not only does it spray, so you can get rid of a lot of the dust and debris, but also brake cleaner is specifically made to remove oil and just grease and dirt and oil, which, what do we put in our balisongs all the time? Oil, of course. So that is one of the main reasons I use brake cleaner, is to clean all the debris out, clean all the old oil out, and put some fresh oil in there. Because over time, oil does dry up, oil can clump, it can leave some weird, gross bits in there. It is generally a good idea to, once every couple weeks, to clean your stuff out. If you're like me and you oil your knives a lot, with a lot of oil, you might want to do that more often. If you're using non-chlorinated brake cleaner, it is harmless to your knives. It's not going to do any damage, so don't worry about it. So yeah, basically what you do here, there's two options. If you just want to remove some oil, it's a pretty clean balisong. You can just kind of give it a little squirt in the pivots, just like that, and flip it around, let that work in. Or if you're like me and you want to completely just blast the shit out of it and get rid of everything, don't feel bad. It is harmless, just blast it. And here's the important part, is you're gonna work it in, because at the end of the day, it is a liquid and it does dry very, very fast, but you need to work it in. So once you blast it, what I usually do is give it one of these, and then just do some basic flipping. Whether it's just like the opener, oh my god, I can't think, Jesus, the double rollout. Whether it's just that, or yeah, the Farbos combo. Whether it's the Farbos combo, or it's just doing some kind of fans and all this kind of stuff. The thing is, you want to, because the stuff dries so fast, you want to get it in pretty quickly. So give it a spray and then start flipping and just kind of keep flipping. And you'll notice as you're flipping, it's going to start to dry up and it's going to become a lot shakier. And you might feel kind of the handles and the bushings like wiggling around because there's no oil cushion there. It's just metal wiggling around inside of other metal. So you will actively feel it start to feel worse and worse and worse over time. And that is what you want. So you're gonna do this, just flip it for a minute. Eventually it's gonna kind of dry up and you can see the stuff on the blade is kind of drying up. So we're gonna hit it again. And now that we've blasted it the first time, there's really not any debris or oil in there. So I'm not gonna go like too crazy with it. I'm just gonna kind of get a little bit in there. And same thing, definitely do this outside, by the way, because of course it sprays everywhere, but it also has, what's that chemical in nail polish remover? Acetone. Yeah, it smells like acetone, and acetone is not good to breathe in large quantities. So definitely just do this outside. or in a very, very well ventilated garage or something like that, but outside's always your best bet. And I usually just do this 2 to 3 times, and then the third time I do it, I'm just gonna sit it on the table or keep flipping it for 10-15 minutes, because although it does dry very quickly, you can see some of the stuff on the blade, it doesn't dry immediately. To get a full dry in, you want to let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Literally go watch a YouTube video, just leave it on the table, let it dry out completely, and then you can put more oil in it. Because if you think about it, if you put oil in it while the chemical is still there that removes oil, it gets all messed up and all weird. So I let it fully dry. Eventually, if you do it enough, you might even get the beautiful thing of squeaking bushings, which is my favorite thing ever, and it's really funny, is when your knife is so dry that it actually squeaks while you flip it, and it's very funny. It sounds horrendous, and it actually hurts the soul, but I don't know, it's kind of funny that happens. So yeah, I do it like 3 times. I usually do it. As of right now, I can feel it is getting bone dry. I can feel it wobbling while I flip it. And that is, of course, what you want. It's also very useful if you are testing lubes and you need to have a completely clean slate. So yeah, blast it down and give it a flip, and that's basically it. I'm going to flip it for a couple minutes, set it on the table, let it dry for 10-15 minutes, and then once it's completely clean, I can put new oil in it, and it'll feel just good as new. And typically when you're oiling your balisongs, you have a little bit left over from your last session, so you don't have to put as much oil in there. But since you're starting completely from scratch, I would recommend putting a little bit extra oil in there. Oh, do we hear a squeak? Not quite. It's not squeaking yet. I thought I heard something. So that's a good indicator, by the way. If your knife is squeaking, that it is bone dry. So yeah, that's basically kind of what you want to do, and it's rattly, it's dry. Some people like their balisongs like this, which I'm not going to give my opinion on that, because I'd rather not get my, you know what, I will give my opinion on that. Some knives, it's great. Unironically, having a completely dry knife, it actually flips really good. The only problem is just that it feels shaky and it sounds horrendous, but it actually doesn't flip that bad. It's very controllable and it's very fluid, just because there's nothing slowing your knife down. It's just straight up speed. But regardless, yeah, that's basically it. Non-chlorinated brake cleaner, spray it out, and it is harmless to aluminum, steel. You can use bronze washers, stainless steel washers, doesn't matter. It's going to be fine. I've used it on tons of knives. I know Tay even uses it on the Tay flippers sometimes, and I've done it too, and it hasn't given me any issues. So even some plastic balisongs you should be good doing. So yeah, that's basically it. This is really dry now, and now is when you would just put in your favorite oil or try a new oil. And yeah, that's basically the strategy. Also, if you're going to do this, put oil on your blade after so it doesn't rust, because it is now just exposed steel, and they can very easily rust. I've had that happen plenty of times, so try to put some oil on your blade to keep it in good shape, especially if you use your knives for actual knife purposes. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you got some use out of this, because it is something I use all of the time, and I see people taking apart their bushing knives and spending 10 minutes like just trying to get the handles loose so they can take it apart, especially on replicants. And you just don't have to. You can just spray them clean. You can do this with any knife. I do it on my washer knife sometimes when I just don't feel like taking them apart. Bearings as well. I've done it on my Bermuda a few days ago. But yeah, it's just bearing, or bushings especially, it is one of the key things to have, is some non-chlorinated brake cleaner. Brakeline is the brand that I use, all reliable, but you can get a different brand. But I can tell you from experience, this works perfectly. So yeah, that is the strat here. So thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys hopefully pretty soon. Peace out.